With around 60,000 visitors a year, the Hawk Conservancy in Andover has over 130 birds for the public to come and see in their daily programme of feedings and flying shows. But they're also trying to educate people about the protection of national and international species.
With our visitor attraction and being a charity, we're here to help birds of prey in the wild. So a bird like this vulture here, who's now moving around, his name is Fagin. He's an African hooded vulture. You're going to come and join us? And we work with birds like this in the wild through conservation. And so our whole reason for existence and being a visitor attraction is to raise money through our shows and the events and the different activities that we do to fund conservation work with birds of prey.
Recently, vultures in Africa have been coming under the increasing threat of decline due to poachers. The Hawk Conservancy have been conducting research in the savannah and trying to combat what they call the biggest killer of vultures in Africa.
Hundreds and hundreds of vultures can get killed at one event, and the poachers already operating illegally are interested in the ivory. What they don't want is the vultures circling overhead while they're trying to get the ivory, so they kill the vultures deliberately by poisoning the elephants, and then they can escape undetected.
Their research suggests that just one elephant poisoning a year would be enough to send certain species of vultures extinct in the next 50 years. Incidents have been reported in Zimbabwe, Mozambique and Namibia over the last 18 months. Campbell says it has a huge effect on the whole ecosystem.
Wildlife in general is being poisoned. It's not just vultures. The entire African continent is suffering from poisoning. So from the smallest insects up to the largest animals, the elephants, are all being poisoned in one way, shape or form. So the consequences for that are huge. So it's not just vultures, it's African wildlife in general that's under threat. And when that starts to disappear, we've got huge consequences for ecosystems and human health as well. So it's not just the vultures, they're representative and they're probably the best example we've got of animals dying from poisoning, but the entire African wildlife is under threat from the same problem.
Their response has been to introduce poison response kits and training to field staff, which they say is proving to ease the problem.
They can lock down the site, make it clean in so many words, so that additional wildlife that comes into the site isn't going to be poisoned. And that's really what we're doing. We're trying to minimise the damage. We can't stop it from happening, but we can minimise the damage. And our same research has shown that when we do that, the population decline is less, so it's less bad, which I know is a double negative, but it's less bad than it would have been if we weren't doing that at all. And it means the populations can persist for much longer.
And back in the UK, the Hawk Conservancy are trying to change people's perspectives on vultures.
So a lot of the time that people will either see vultures on a wildlife programme or a documentary or maybe read about them in storybooks, and even in children's books vultures are often portrayed as the villains, you know, of the bird of prey world or the animal kingdom, but they're just amazing. So trying to meet one in real life, and I always think that, you know, to love a vulture you need to meet one, and then we can hopefully convert people into loving them.
They say until a way is found to stop elephant poaching, the team will continue to help vultures in the wild as well as promote the birds here in the UK. Kara Digby, That's TV.